So there's a new build out for the Battle for Azeroth Beta, and today we're taking a look at the shiny new Protection Paladin, and boy, there are some changes, and personally I'm really excited for these. They're just adding some more much needed layers to the whole Protection Paladin. No more the mindless spam. You will now spam, but it will actually do a little bit of difference, which is really nice. So starting off, gonna go over the tooltip change here. Block, and now I'm not sure if this is old or new, I had checked that up, but it now says blocking adds X amount of armor against an attack instead of just blocking reduces damage taken by X. So you can actually see what kind of value you're getting out of it, which is pretty nice. And that ties hand in hand with everything that has been changed. So starting off, we got the new fancy Avenger Shield. So usually we just spam Avenger Shield all the time. At any occasion, as soon as we have a proc, we just throw away that shield. Now, we actually get some mitigation out of it. So, popping Avenger Shield increases the effects of your next Shield of Righteous by 20%. So, anytime we use Avenger Shield, we buff our active mitigation. So, instead of sitting at 5.4k armor, when I use Shield of Righteous, if I pop Avenger Shield, I get up to 6.5k. And you can pretty much time this so you will have this buffed on every single Shield of Righteous. Other than that, they've changed our mastery. So mastery now says, instead of increasing your Shield of Righteous while you're standing in your consecrate, it now increases your chance to block and all damage taken while inside your consecration. So it's not when you pop Shield of Righteous, it's at all time as long as you're standing in a consecration. And it's all damage types, so it's both physical and magical damage. It's just an overall damage reduction that scales the more mastery you get, which is pretty damn nice. And why this is so significant, or for me a big change, is that it shifts the focus a bit from Shield of Righteous to just overall damage mitigation. Because in the past we've been beasts as long as we've had Shield of Righteous up. As soon as it's down and we don't have a cooldown or something like that, we're pretty much a mage with a shield. If something smacks you hard there, well, you're gone. Adding that with the global cooldown or our self-heal, we've been moment to moment pretty damn squishy. But this is shift the focus. You're not that punished when you don't have Shield of Righteous. Instead, you just take less damage at all time. You keep increasing that the more mastery and gear you get. And this goes hand in hand with a few changes they made with consecration. Since they changed our mastery, they changed consecration, so it's now on a 4.5 second cooldown, 4.1 for me with haste. And consecrate now lasts for 12 seconds or 11 seconds for me with haste. So it's a shorter cooldown and longer duration, which means no matter what we do, we can always have it up. Even if we have to move a lot, we'll still have consecration up, which is pretty damn nice. The other change they made to it is we can no longer stack it. So if we pop one consecrate, move out of it, wait for the cooldown, which is right now, pop it, the old one disappears. So no longer having two up at the same time and double dipping the damage for the better part of the duration. So we can only have one up. Doesn't really matter. So it's a tad nerf to our damage, but who cares? I didn't say that. And lastly, our talents, or talent. So one talent has been removed. It's between Holy Shield and Blessed Hammer. So it's consecrated hammer, can't remember what it's called, never picked it, never used it, so it's not stuck to my memory. So they removed whatever hammer was called and put in Redoubt instead. So what Redoubt does is Avenger Shield bounces to one additional target and increases your block by 75% for 8 seconds. And at first I was like, holy crap, we're gonna have so much block. But it's block value, not block chance, mind you. So you don't go from 23% block up to 75% increase on that, but it's on the actual value of your block when you block. So blocking adds 5.3k armor right now, and putting on Redoubt, swing, fat fingering, it now blocks 9.3k instead. So that's a huge armor increase on all the blocks we do during that window. And it's up for 8 seconds, mind you. Avenger Shield being on a 14 sec cooldown. So even if you didn't get a single proc during an entire fight, you'd still have a 50% uptime on this one. Granted, if you use it right off the bat. But seeing how it procs goes hand in hand with First Avenger, where you get more procs, it's going to be up all the time. I mean, on single target 70-80% of the time, I guess, while AoEing, you're just going to have 100% uptime on it. So every time you block, you're just going to take a lot less damage, which is really dang nice. And it adds even more value to spamming Avenger Shield. So, seeing how I'm not a math head, I'm not a math genius, I haven't crunched any numbers on this one, I can't tell you which one will come out on top in the end. But right now, right off the bat, with some so-called feely crafting, this one just looks really damn good. Because first of all, the fact that Avenger Shield bounces to one additional target, it's huge. But that it also increases your block value by 75%, and you have pretty much 100% uptime while doing a dungeon. That is just so damn big. Sure, Holy Shield increases your overall block chance by 15%, and you can block spells, which is also really nice. So both of these will probably have their places depending on the dungeon you're running. If it's heavy physical or heavy magical, you're gonna swap between. This Blessed Hammer right now doesn't look so good compared to the other talents. Still a good talent, but compared to these two, personally wouldn't pick that. But we'll see what kind of math they get for this one in the end. But just the fact that you hit more targets with your Avenger Shield now is... gotta love it. I mean, they really incentivize you using Avenger Shield now. You got Redoubt on it, you increase your active mitigation from it. So I mean... sure, you spammed it like fudge before, but now you actually feel even better spamming it. You're kind of like, oh, come on, proc, proc, proc. And not just from a DPS standpoint, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna take less damage and deal more damage. Gotta love that. It just feels so much more rewarding having some thought behind it. And I mean, sure, in a dungeon environment or AoE tanking, you're going to have Redoubt up 100% of the time, and you're going to be able to boost every Shield of Righteous. No problem with the proc rate. But in a raiding environment on a single target boss, there's actually somewhat of a choice to be made. It's like, you don't want to spend all your Shield of Righteous or all your Avenger Shields right off the bat. You kind of do, but I mean... sometimes you might want to, like, I'm gonna save this one so I can buff my next active mitigation. Just because I know it's gonna hurt a lot. And I'm not 100% sure I will get another proc before. So you actually can put some thought, some min-maxing behind it to just get more survivability out of it, if that's what you need. I mean, damage-wise, you just want to spam it. As far as spamming goes. But... yeah, it gives it a bit of a more of a nuance, some layers to it. Which is really nice. It's just not mindless spamming for the sake of spamming. It actually does something, which is moving us a bit away from the whole button mashing thing. I can say this as much as I like. Oh shit! Still gonna button mash, but as I said, it's gonna be a bit of reasoning behind it. The only thing is, I gotta get used to not using up my global cooldowns for consecrate. I actually need to get myself a weak aura for it and check the timings at least. Because since it doesn't stack, since you can't have two consecrate up at the same time, there's really no reason to use it while one is up. You just want 100% uptime, no more, no less, since you take less damage up in it. But I mean... you won't do more damage or gain any defenses from spamming it. I mean, it makes sense. I'm just so used to trying to have use it every time it's off cooldown just to increase my damage output. But no more need for that, so... I'm guessing they want to free up a little bit of global for us. To make it easier to use Hand of the Protector. I mean, just put it off the global cooldown and everyone will be happy. I'm sure it's not part of your grand scheme of how things should be. But I mean, at the end of the day, Some pandering to your customers might be nice. This, however, might have been too much. Especially whilst getting stunned at that. That up. Oh, gotta get our consecrate up. Come on, global cooldown. Ah! See? Ah! That's the issue with the global cooldown. And the new change they made to consecration is just really nice. If I need to kite, since it has such low cooldown, I just keep them slowed. 50%, yeah. But from a kiting perspective in Mythic Plus, that's gonna be really damn nice. That is if you spec into consecrated grounds, which reduces their movement speed by 50%, and since it's on a 4-second cooldown-ish, yeah, you can have 100% uptime on the whole slowing part. But yeah, the toolkit they've updated the Protection Paladin with, I am loving it. Some people are giving them a hard time, but personally I think they're hella fun. I mean, see, we get kiting potential, we get ranged damage with the shields. Sure, they don't proc that much when you kite. Shield of Righteous being an AoE now. And the Avenger Shield just buffing everything. And the new changes that you just take damage reduction from consecration. I mean, everything just fits into each other very well. The only down part and really bugging me is the global cooldown on Handle Protector. Other than that, everything is just awesome. Looking really damn fun. Or they are really damn fun. I mean, you can certainly feel the nerf or the decrease in healing from Hand of the Protector as well, since it no longer gets any benefit from your concentration. As it used to be buffed by our mastery, both our Shield of Righteous and Hand of the Protector were buffed by our mastery, it no longer is. And you can definitely feel that you no longer lay on hand heal yourself. But I mean, overall we take less damage, so can't have everything, huh? Unless you're a druid. Take our spell bubbles so we don't take any damage from that nasty shit. Like here, it's just procs after procs after procs on your Avenger Shield. I mean, as I said, on AoE, 100% uptime, which is just damn good. So if you're in a dungeon with a hell of a lot of melee damage or physical damage, Redoubt is just gonna be so damn good. And if you go into one where more packs are like these one, where there's a lot of spell damage, you could opt in for Holy Shield. So it just gives us a bit more variety to play around, which I like. I'm not a huge fan of the cookie cutter builds like do this and you're fine. I like the whole respecing between bosses or dungeons, because this dungeon is probably gonna go a tad better if I run this setup or that setup. It just feels better to have a choice instead of do this or no good. It's kind of like Retribution Aura. Why is it even there? Why? It is so awful. There's no reason to run it. But what if you have a million mobs on you? Well, maybe if they each hit everyone in the raid, maybe you might get some use out of it. Otherwise, it's just a dead talent. They know it, everyone knows it, yet they haven't mentioned any change. But we need auras, because we're paladins. Well, just give us Devotion Aura baseline. No, that would be overpowered. Well, we're not using any auras as it is right now, so I mean, it's not like it's gonna change. But yeah, it's really hard to say anything numbers wise right now. I have like no UI and then no math on it. Like I could do math. Funny me. But I mean, it's really hard to gauge if we're taking way too much damage or if this is intended or whatever. And it doesn't really matter, because the tuning will be done when BFA is released, or as usual 2 months into the release. So the tuning right now doesn't really matter. It's more how are they feeling. And gotta say, huge fan of the changes. It just feels just good. But I mean, if we break it down a bit and just compare them to how they are on live compared to Right, now sure, we're losing a lot of synergies since our artifact traits are gone, but we're gaining a lot as well. I mean, the fact that Shield of the Righteous is a frontal cone right now is awesome, and it makes it so that I'm not sure about running Seraphim, since which will you gain the most out of? You want the mitigation from Shield of Righteous and the AoE damage from Shield of Righteous. So Seraphim doesn't feel as mandatory right now as it's done previously, which is very nice, again with the choices. And the fact that we now have our Avenger Shield matter a bit, instead of it just being a DPS filler. It now affects your mitigation, makes you stronger, and works in synergy with most of your other defensive capabilities, which is very nice. Also, having talents that buff that further, or having talents that work against spells in an expansion where spell damage is going to be that much harder to deal with compared to previous expansions, since everything is armor, armor, armor. And the change to our mastery, it's now purely block and damage reduction from all sources. It's just awesome. So that's it for the first look on what have they changed on the new shiny Protection Paladin. And if you like these kind of videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel, leave a like or a comment below if you're wondering anything, and until next time, thanks for watching and I'll see you around.